So before we begin, I just wanted to have a little bit of a disclaimer for everyone who is following up on my WandaVision video. If you're uninterested and really just do not care about that whole thing, then just skip to this timestamp on screen. It'll also be in the description, but I'm gonna just talk about why that video is not happening anymore. I promised the WandaVision video all the way back in August of 2022, which was over a year ago now, and that video has been on my mind for a very long time. Unfortunately, the more time that passed since I promised I would make that video, the less I started to care about it in general, and I just started to feel kind of iffy about even continuing on that project. But I thought that since I had already promised that I would make that video, that I had no other choice but to do so, so I continued for the entire year. I finished the script, which was about 36 pages of content, and I even finished editing a good 30 minutes of content on what was looking to be a 40-minute video. Unfortunately, that's when luck went against me and I lost everything. For some reason, my Filmora decided to delete every file that was associated with the platform. I'm not sure if I've ever made this super public, but I edit my videos on Filmora while using the audio and video recorders that come with the software. So when Filmora decided to delete all of the stuff that I had recorded on their platform, I lost all of my commentary and all of the visuals that I had recorded using that. After that, I tried really hard to continue editing that video, but I realized it was taking away time that I could have been putting into more projects that I felt more passionate about at this point. So I quit the WandaVision video, and honestly, it's probably for the best. I do wish I could have finished it because of the amount of work that I put into it, and it was shaping up to be a really good video, but I just couldn't really handle it anymore. The TLDR for that video was basically that WandaVision was a pretty good show until the Agatha reveal, and then that really fucked up everything. And since the show reveals that Agatha was the villain all along, it inadequately sets up for a story where Wanda is supposed to be the villain. Again, I'm really sorry to anyone who was really looking forward to that video, but I think this is for the better. I can put out better content that I'm just more proud of, and honestly, I just didn't really care about that video anymore. Regardless, let's get back to your regularly scheduled bashing. Hey Jacob, it's Kribby, back at it again with another video, and today we're going to be discussing a very bad review of Mutant Mayhem. TMNT Mutant Mayhem is a new TMNT movie that had just released in theaters last week, and honestly, it's very good. It's a really amazing movie, and if you haven't seen it, you totally should. Unfortunately, we're not here to talk about that amazing movie, because instead we're here to talk about a man named Thorias Unlimited, and his subpar review of that movie. Thorias Unlimited is about as competent a review channel as Ben Shapiro is a competent political commentator. Unfortunately, this also stems to his points, as a lot of Thorias's points come from really bad political standpoints. I hope not to get too political in this video and instead only really discuss the stuff that he gets wrong in this video, because a lot of politics is his or her say. However, even throwing out all this stuff about politics, there's still a lot in this video that makes me realize that this guy probably doesn't know a lot, or as much as he says he knows, about TMNT. So let's get started, shall we?
Good news! We finally got the Ninja Turtles away from Michael Bay. Bad news. We gave them to Seth Rogen. Good news! The Turtles are animated again. Bad news. So is April O'Neil.
Sorry for the cut in my background music. I just wanted to let you know what his background music was for his video so that we can come back to it later on in the video. I'm already a bit confused about what he's trying to say here. Is he saying that having April O'Neil being animated is a bad thing? Like, he wants the Turtles to be animated alongside a live-action April O'Neil? Like, what are you talking about, man? Funny thing is that he actually goes back to say he doesn't actually hate Seth Rogen and just needed something for the bit.
For the record, I don't hate Seth Rogen, I just needed another bad news thing to make the bit work.
But doesn't do the same thing for the April O'Neil line, which means that that one was genuine. To make things worse, the two pieces of media that he names as proof that he likes Seth Rogen media are The Boys, which is fairly reasonable, and fucking Sausage Party. In this guy's mind, Sausage Party is Seth Rogen's magnum opus of cinema. Oh my god, you can't make this shit up.
Hey, what we have here with this movie seems to be the first in what I expect will be a wave of films trying to ape the animation style of the Spider-Verse movies. Which, yeah, if there's one thing about Spider-Verse you'd want to take cues from, that would be it.
Just so that we know his general taste in media, this guy has not seen Into the Spider-Verse and dislikes Across the Spider-Verse. I guess it just couldn't beat Sausage Party, for fuck's sake.
Where this backfires, though, is with the human characters. The mutants look cool. Some of them are not to my liking, but I respect the work that went into designing them. With the humans, though, I don't know what they were thinking.
You didn't have to tell us that, hun. We know. This whole decision was made so that the humans looked as disgusting as the mutants, making it so that it was clear that they're not that different from each other and make their prejudice even worse. Less defendable.
I understand that illegal mutant mayhem of wow, that was not a good idea. And while we're on that subject, let's talk about April. There was quite a stir when the trailer came out and we all saw what April looked like. I weighed in on that too in the community tab. It was a big thing. And I'm not talking about the race bending. It seems like every character is getting race bent these days. It's always annoying and unnecessary, but it happens so often I just roll my eyes at it now.
Moments like this make me question whether or not this guy's actually a fan of this series, because this is not the first time that April has been black, and also she originally was a light-skinned woman. But even if she wasn't light-skinned in her first appearance, this isn't the only time that April's been black, and her race has never really mattered, hence why no one cared when she was turned from light-skinned to black in the comics and cartoons. This is probably the first piece of TMNT media that actually has a reason for April being the skin color that she is. This is just generally because the issue with the mutants is often very similar to issues surrounding black people in the United States and similar racism. So I really do struggle to see what his point is here.
What confuses me is the other stuff. Why make her fat, overweight, horizontally enhanced, whatever? I'm not trying to body shame anybody, I'm just asking a question here. In all seriousness, who is this supposed to appeal to?
Be prepared, because the next words that he's about to say are some of the most concerning I've ever heard an adult man say.
Aside from the chubby chasers...
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Aside from the chubby chasers...
One more time, just to make sure I heard him right.
Aside from the chubby chasers...
Hey Thorias, just spitballing here, but maybe you're not supposed to find the design of a teenager that's still in high school attractive? Like, come on, man, how old are you, 30? For the record, I'm not actually saying that he's a pedophile or anything, just that it's a really odd comment to make about a teenager.
Who do you think is going to like this? It might tick a box with the activist weirdos on Tumblr, but those people don't actually support these movies anyway. At the end of the day, you're making a product here that you want people to buy because they like what they see, and there seems to have been a push to make April look intentionally unappealing for the first time, and she's one of the more normal looking humans in this thing.
If we're talking about selling based off of appealedness, then have you seen yourself? Like, ever? Saying you looked like a homeless dude would be an insult to homeless people. I say this to point out that the whole point of this channel isn't to go and see Thorias' face, it's to hear what he has to say, just like how the whole point of the movie isn't to see how April fucking looks, it's to talk about the fucking turtles.
And not that I really want to examine this too closely, but there were a bunch of strange coincidences with April here. I mean, beats me what the motivation for all this was, but I just find it odd that this new iteration of April, the first one to be race bent into a black person, April was always a fun, cool character. She'd get herself into trouble sometimes, but she was spunky and resourceful and generally did not vomit on herself for the sake of cheap laughs that never come. But this is the most undignified she's ever been. She's been a journalist, a scientist. In some versions, she becomes a ninja too. And in this one, she's April O'Puke. Stay classy, movie.
Does it really surprise anyone that he completely misses the point of this change? April is intentionally made a loser in this movie because it helps connect her with the turtles and their struggle. These two characters are supposed to be parallels of each other that help reinforce a connection with each other. Just as the turtles are looking for acceptance, April is doing the same thing, despite being for different reasons. I mean, the movie practically spells this out for you. I don't know how you missed this.
And all this stuff just makes it even more baffling when Leo takes a shine to her. And I know that's been done before. I think Donnie had a crush on April in one of the cartoons, but that's already weird enough on the face of it, with them being different species and all. I mean, you don't exactly go around seeing dogs having with cats. That's not a thing. But once you add the make-under that they've given April, up to and including her being a vomit geyser, when Leo takes one look and is instantly smitten, thinks she's the most beautiful creature he's ever seen, it's so freaking awkward. It doesn't work at all.
I know Mr. Chubby Chaser isn't trying to take the moral high road on sexual activities. In all seriousness though, he really just said that the most outworldish thing about this whole thing is that Leo finds someone that he doesn't find attractive. Like, girl, what are you talking about?
And the turtles are not without their own issues, I'm afraid. I do think it's interesting that they really sound like teenagers this time. Again, not really my favorite choice, but points for trying something different at least. But where they really screwed up here, in my opinion, was focusing so much on the teenager thing. Because the movie leans really hard on the Teenage Mutant stuff, but for some reason didn't seem at all interested in the ninja part. And of all the things to slack off on, why would you pick that?
Well, seeing as that's a part of the Turtles that's explored heavily in almost every material based on them, it could take a bit of a breather for maybe like this interpretation. It's not the most egregious thing. He also says this while showing pictures of them kicking ass.
Being ninjas is what makes them cool.
Being teenage and different is what makes them relatable. I think that's slightly more important. Additionally, even if it were more important for them to be cool, the ninja part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is still a small part of a big name.
Oh, but don't worry, because Splinter might be gay now.
I'm just gonna skip over this chunk of the video because Splinter is, spoiler alert, not gay, and also I have no clue where he got that idea from at all. Crazy to think in an online discourse about a movie, the fact that a rat and a cockroach are getting together isn't the part that troubles people. It's the fact that the cockroach might be a dude.
For f***'s sake, there's so little emphasis put on them being ninjas in this film. The first time they get into a fight, they don't even know what to do because they've never been in a fight before. Really? You've been ninja training your whole lives and you don't know how to fight? How did that even make sense on the page? Did not like this at all.
Probably because training and actually being in a fight for your life is actually like two very different things. I don't know, man. Plus, after that beginning fight scene, they kick ass. The no diggity scene is one of the fucking coolest looking pieces of turtle animation I've ever seen. Like, what is Blood talking about?
Why does Hollywood keep doing this? What is wrong with our male heroes actually being good at things? You're not taking anything away from women by just letting male characters be who they are.
It also doesn't take anything away from men to have male characters that have flaws. Wow, it's funny how this thing works both ways, huh?
It's all about them wanting to come out of the sewer and be accepted by humans. Okay, not a bad idea to flirt with, but once you've done that, you've kind of taken something really important away from them. You've removed the core of their characters, that they're ninjas who fight in the shadows and go unseen by everybody.
This is where I realized that he doesn't understand anything about this franchise. The Turtles' core, their heart, isn't just that they're ninjas that fight at night. That's an inherent reductive term of what they are. The Turtles are characters that desperately want to be accepted by humanity. The Turtles are characters that have a shared sense of isolation, but through that shared sense of isolation have formed a family. That's the whole point of the Turtles, and this movie gets that in spades. The most popular turtle stories are the ones where these characters are faced with the consequences and loneliness that comes from being different. Look at The Last Ronin for an example. How can you be a fan of this franchise and not get this crucial part of these characters?
Once that's gone, they're not really them anymore. But hey, that noise, now they've gotta have TikToks and always be on their phones texting and shit, because that's what real teenagers are like, right? Even the Mutant Ninja Turtle.
The point is to show that they're not that different from normal teenagers so that the audience can see how ignorant it is for people to be prejudiced against them. Moving on.
Once. Just out of curiosity, what was the deal with the phones? How'd they even get them? What cell phone plan are Splinter and the boys on? Who exactly is that Verizon bill coming to every month? I'm just thinking out loud here.
Right, so in a movie comprised of a franchise that has 4 giant ninja fighting turtles that have weapons that never rust despite living in a sewer, and also are named after dead Renaissance artists, the thing that pushes you over the edge in terms of your believability is whether or not they have a fucking cell phone plan. This is a stupid nitpick. Who cares?
Holy shit, just please shut up. Nobody gives a shit about anything you're saying. No, brain is fucking smooth. All your brain cells must be decaying.
What's more, the filmmakers weren't just content with highlighting the teenager thing. The turtles had to be modern teenagers. I mean, you could get away with some of these things, but when it really got to be too much was when they started using modern humor.
That's right, guys. This movie committed the cardinal sin. A modern movie about modern teenagers has modern humor. Wow, how awful. I mean, how will I ever recover? Has it even, like, crossed his mind that maybe this piece of media isn't meant for him to watch? Like, maybe it's not aimed at 30-year-old men? Spidey and His Amazing Friends is based off of a property that I love, but I'm not going to go over there and complain that that show is too childish. Like, what the hell?
Damn it, Hollywood, stop trying to make twerking green people a trend. It's not going to happen.
Damn it, Thorias, stop pretending like having 2 situations that are vaguely similar makes something a trend. Also, the crucial difference between these 2 moments that make She-Hulk cringe and TMNT work is that Mikey actually is a teenager and not a 30-year-old woman, just like how he should not be criticized for twerking by a 30-year-old man who clearly doesn't know when humor is meant for him.
So I don't know what the hell all these critics are talking about saying the movie is so hilarious. It's not. It thinks it is. But if you could pick individual jokes out of all the talking, then you must have been paying closer attention than anyone in my theater.
I hate when motherfuckers do this. Like, just say you didn't find the movie funny. You don't have to pretend like everyone in your theater was as much of a lowlife as you. The way I see it, this theater of his must have either been really reserved or really non-existent.
Speaking of music, the soundtrack sucks.
First of all, low pitch does not equal funny. Also, this is coming from the guy who has had the same shitty bass line of 3 notes on a guitar playing throughout the entirety of his fucking video since the start. Don't you even try to claim that his soundtrack sucks, man.
The song choices they used in this movie were some of the most awkward shit they did, period. You can play What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes just short of f***ing forever, but you couldn't fit the iconic Ninja Turtles theme song in there even once? Jesus Christ, even the Michael Bay movies eventually remembered to do that.
Wait, hold up. Your reasoning for why this soundtrack sucks isn't pointing out any songs in the soundtrack that don't fit. No. It's saying that it didn't have one song that you wanted in there. Like, what are you talking about? Look at the soundtrack for what it is, not for what you wanted it to be, asshole.
But Hey, look, the Turtles are part of my childhood. I grew up on the cartoons, I had the action figures. It's really hard for me to hate the Turtles.
Given what we've seen throughout the entirety of this video, I highly doubt that.
Hey, with Superfly and his evil plot to create more mutants, that made sense.
Right, so the plot about the giant fly creating a machine that would turn all of the animals into mutants and attack people because he was prejudiced against makes complete sense, but the Turtles having phones don't? Like, come on, man, what are you on about?
I just think that while this film might have been made with better
Sorry to cut him off, but I don't really have much to say about what he says here. I just wanted to talk about how the gif that he loops in this fucking video is so egregious. Like, just get a different clip. Put it in the background. Use a still image. Stop looping the same clip. And that's pretty much all he had to say about TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Overall, this video is really stupid and seems to misunderstand the whole point of the movie and Turtles entirely. I do genuinely doubt that he was ever a fan of this franchise, but regardless, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, do all the stuff you normally do, and make sure to comment which still frame of Thorias made you laugh the most. This is also all for fun, so just reminder not to attack any of the people that I talk about, because that's kind of rude. I'm not revealing any of the cards that I want to do for later videos until I actually decide to do them, so I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Goodbye.